Your employer is your university of career development. Which means that if you're an employee, you are an investor. Now, if you are an investor in this industry, it means you're going to get something out of it. Remember, before the job, you're asking, please, God, just give me a job. If you give me a job, I'll have food to eat. I won't complain again. 6 months later, this employer, very difficult man, boy. He doesn't pay me enough. Does he know who I am? 6 months earlier.
Are people entitled when they feel that they're not paid enough for how much they work? Is that self-entitlement, or is it that people are not doing enough?
Okay. I think it goes back to where we started at the beginning of our discussion here, is that take personal responsibility for your own success. And I'll say this very carefully, because indeed, there could be underpayment. The environment just doesn't have support the kind of pay that you would like, and so the market rate is below your what you feel is what you're worth. That's not a problem. That situation pertains all around the world. So
it's a global situation.
It's a global situation. You're not going to change it by complaining to your employer that you are underpaying me. Okay? You'd rather think about, how do I manage what I have to get to where I want? Now, here I'll give you an example. And I've worked, as I said, I've worked in a number of places, and there's usually a receptionist, or times you go to a company, you find the receptionist, the messenger, and so on. Now, inordinately, almost in every company, you probably find that the receptionist is the one who makes these donuts or mandazis and brings them every morning. And she has clientele throughout the organization. There's some people who will not eat breakfast, or they will not drink tea until Mary has brought her mandazi. Yes.
And that's a familiar story.
If Mary fails to bring that mandazi,
the day doesn't go well.
The day doesn't begin. So let's talk about Mary. She's the receptionist.
Yeah.
She's probably being paid not much more like the other guys who are in the offices or senior manager and so on.
Yeah, yeah.
But every day she brings 20, 30, 40, 50 mandazis, donuts.
Yes. Yeah.
And she distributes them at 10 o'clock. And if one of those donuts is, say, 10 shillings, all right, and she has 100, so 10 times 100 is 1,000 shillings.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're talking about how many dollars? $5? No. Almost $10. $5 to $10.
Yeah. $10.
And you're probably wondering, so, and she woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
She took the mandazis, she came, she brought them to the office. She's very excellent at the reception, never fails on the job. But she also is efficient in supplying this for this gentleman, who would be bachelors running out of the office, going across the street, trying to look for something to eat. Now she says, no, don't worry, I'll bring them for you. Okay. So Kenyan maths, Kenyan mathematics here. 1,000 shillings a day times 25. She gets 25,000 neat.
That is extra selling mandazis.
You go. Now, I'm not saying that you start selling mandazis, although you could. But what I'm saying is, think around the situation and environment in which you are in. And you'll probably find that if you have some level of discipline, you can actually achieve that. Okay, the other story I wanted to give you is a person who has really had a level of a very high self-confidence. Brian came from, and he worked for me, okay? on the farm, on the shamba. And told you, right now I'm out here, out the window is a big farm. He's doing the taking care of the plants and so on. And he just had the primary school education. So he came to work for me on the farm. So I said, okay, feed the dogs, do the farm work, make sure everything is out. You be the caretaker in the area. And he did this job very well. So after a while, he said, boss, I can see that there's construction going on next door. Can I go and work there? I said, no, you work here. And he said, okay, if I finish my work, can I go? Yeah, so long as nothing is missing, you can do, you finish your work, then you can go and take, but you only do it in the afternoon, so, right? Not in the morning. Mornings, so the guy would go.
Wow.
Do you know, he learned how to do the construction, mix the cement, all those kind of stuff. He was actually tuitioning himself. After a couple of months, I needed to get a construction done in my compound.
Wow.
So I says, Brian, that stuff you've been doing there, can you do it here? I says, yeah. So he did it. I gave him a pay rise because suddenly he has been appreciated, because I knew that if I don't keep this up, he's going to go to those guys.
Yes.
But this was an excellent worker. You know, the kind of people who don't complain, they will do the work. That's what I'm saying. He's not telling you this is too little money and so on. Now, obviously, his aptitude, he didn't go to secondary school. So this was an aptitude, but was going to carry him far. After a while, after driving, I asked him, Brian, you know, they keep sending me to the shop, you know, we stay a bit far from the shop. So they keep sending me to the shops since we're out in the wilderness. Come, let me teach you how to drive. So I taught him how to drive. And I said, well, go and get a driving license. So he went to get a driving license. And now he's a driver, he's a caretaker, and he's a constructor. Short story on that young man took the skills that he got from his employment and went and built himself a house in the village.
Amazing.
Now you tell me about a person with a plan, a person with a vision, and all the skills he learned it from employment. Now, even if you're looking at this screen, I want to confess that all the skills I put into practice now, I've learned from my employers. My previous employers, I sat down, how do these guys make money? They do marketing, okay. And then how much do they charge? I found out, okay. How much does it cost them? I learned from them. They send out this number of teams and they come back, okay. Where's the production process? All right. Now, if I was to start one of my own, how would I do this? So this is all my initiative. So when I left consulting for the big guns, I started my own consultancy. Guess where I went to University of Consulting? I am my employer. Let me tell you a fact of life. Your employer is your University of Career Development.
Your employer is your University of Career Development.
Yes. Yeah, don't go to get your MBA from the university and get a promotion. It's right in front of you. You are in an enterprise. It's a university. Learn and you know what? They pay you to learn.
Amazing. Absolutely. Yes.
If you don't learn,
you find yourself to learn.
Exactly.
Wow. That's mind-blowing. So how do I make a working career successful?
I think okay. If I don't answer the question, I'll come back to it because I want to lay some foundations for this, right? I want to answer this by saying, why is employment so important? Why is it important? And I think what I want to say is that let's start with Africa. I'm very passionate about Africa because this is where I live. This is where I intend to do. This is where I intend to have my greatest influence in life. Okay, so I know America, I know UK, I know other places do other things, but this is about Africa. Okay, so if you're in employment in Africa, you have I think it's 1.2 billion people to feed. Africa has 1.2 billion population. The GDP of Africa is 2.7 trillion US dollars. US dollars. There are 350 million employees in Africa at various levels, which means that every employee feeds 4, 5, or 6 people. Every employee. You're paying school fees, and in Africa, you know, you're paying school fees to your cousin, brother, your brother, sister, daughter. I don't know this. So in Africa, family is not your son or your daughter or your wife or your husband. No. We're talking about community. So the impact of employees in Africa is tremendous. Now let me turn that around. When I say 2.7 trillion US dollars, you're thinking, yeah, that's a nice figure. But if I tell you that that is a $2.7 trillion industry, with the main investors as 350 million employees who feed 4, 5, 6 people, that's their level of responsibility. So one of the things I'm telling you is that, one, you have a major responsibility to keep this continent alive as an employee.
As an employee, an individual, you have a responsibility.
Yes. So don't look at it like yourself. You're keeping our continent afloat. The other thing I'd like to tell you about this 2.7 trillion US dollar industry is that the 350 million employees are the main investors in that enterprise. Which means that if you're an employee, you are an investor. Now, if you are an investor in this industry, it means you're going to get something out of it. Unfortunately, right now, out of this $2.7 trillion industry in Africa, employees earn or own less than 5%. I think it's 3% of that industry. And they're the biggest stakeholders. Something is not right. Remember, we talked about it being a partnership. So how can the other guys be earning all that money? Now, I said, take personal responsibility. You can say all the things about, oh, foreigners, whatever. No, you got a job as a cook or a watchman. What did you do with those shillings? Okay. It is an opportunity for you to access capital legally. Yeah. When you go to the bank and you ask for $10, right? And the one you have $10 in your pocket and you say, give me a loan of $10. Is that the loan of $10 different from the one that you have in the pocket? It's just exactly the same, right? So when your employer gives you this money as a salary, is it any different from capital?
No.
So now, as an employee in Africa, with that great responsibility to take care of this continent, please have a plan. First of all, take care of the 6. And let me also tell you another interesting statistic about employees and employers. Most employers, the turnover will pay 40 to 70% of their turnover will be salaries to employees.
Yeah.
So how come an employer is able to make a profit and the employee is not able to do so?
Maybe because we don't know how to.
Exactly. So we need to figure out how to prosper, because prosperity in employment is also your responsibility. You have been given a salary on a regular basis, you are very disciplined, you have worked. What did you do with that money? What did you do with that capital? How did you develop yourself? What is your net worth after employment? Now, the golden handshake employees. So wait, let me back up a little bit. So now do you see, if an employer is spending 70% of their turnover to pay salaries, one would assume that those employees would take that salary and create wealth also for themselves. No, what we do is consume all of it.
Yeah.
Instead of capitalize it. Now you've got to think about that.
I think it's also the cycle of next month I'll still get my salary, so it's okay if I, if I spend everything this month, next month it's coming.
All right. Okay. So now if I go back to your question, how do we go about it? Think of that foundation. First of all, you're very unique. You know how many people, if you applied for your job, would apply for it? You probably get 1,000 applications by morning. Recently, there was an airline, I forget the name, and anyway, if I remembered, I wouldn't say it. They advertised for air hostesses, and they asked it was a, I think it was either it's a WhatsApp or something. And they just, decided to put it up there. We want some airline hostess, please be, it's urgent, please be at our office tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. There, and it was in the center of town. At 8 o'clock, there was a queue from CBD all the way to railways.
Wow.
For
the job application of an air hostess.
We just wanted, to 1 or 2 people to come. So, I'm putting all of these factors so that to challenge you as an employee that, hey, 1, I'm privileged. 2, I have a unique opportunity. 3, I need to create a strategy to how to use my money. 4, how am I going to be worth more after this employment than before? Remember, you remember before the job, you're asking, please, God, just give me a job. If you give me a job, I'll have food to eat. I won't complain again. 6 months later, this employer, very difficult man, Bwana. He doesn't pay me enough. Does he know who I am? 6 months earlier. Now, what's your plan? 1, okay. So how do you go about it? The key issue here is, I'm talking about salary because that's the main takeaway. You ask anybody in employment, the first thing they'll tell you is, I earn money, I earn money, I earn money. So my next question then is, if you earn money, I know you have a plan for that money. So what's the plan for the money?
Wow. What's the plan? What's
the plan for the money? If you ask many employees, they'll tell you, I have a budget, I have a budget, I have a budget. Where's the budget in my head? I know. It's say, okay, so I know the budget. Okay. So then you ask them, do you follow the budget? Some month is difficult.
Something came up.
Something came up, somebody offered a new car. So I took the money and just, I wanted the car. And then there was this nice dress, this dress, it came to the office, Bana. So, So I know I had a budget, but the budget is thrown out of. Do you have a discipline, first of all, to write it down? Yeah.
Wow.
Set goals for your employment. I want to be here for 2 years. I want to learn marketing. That's the reason I'm here. I want to learn marketing. In another job, maybe I'll look for promotion after those 2 years. But in these 2 years, I'm going to learn everything there is to know about this market, about cell phones, about the suppliers, and I'm going to use this opportunity. After all, they've given me a pickup to drive around town to know all this. I will do the job faithfully and learn everything there is to know. So that's an objective for the job. Second, you've got to have a personal development objective. How are you going to grow? Yeah. How are you going to grow in terms of your intellect? Don't just stay there. And I really encourage people to either read, and you can do this online. You don't have to go to the MBA school. Just do this online, do these short courses, figure out how you develop yourself to be competitive for the next position. Now, let me try not to digress too much here, but have you read a CV, and then when you read the CV, you wonder whether the person spent 5 years on the job or spent 1 year repeated 5 times on the job? It's like I was a driver. I used to drive trucks. I was an accountant and I analyzed books. And you ask, yes, for 5 years you were just analyzed that you could have mastered within the first 3 months.
Yeah.
So what were you doing for the next 5 years? And that's why CVs look so bland and you can't get a job. First of all, you don't even understand what you're doing. Why don't you describe yourself as the logistics officer for distribution of high fast-moving consumer goods products within CBD? Excuse me, not a driver. You look at the bland CV and it says driver, officer, accounts clerk. This guy doesn't understand, this driver doesn't understand that he was in charge of distribution of products within the Nairobi CBD with a customer base of a diverse customer base of 250 people who always look forward to his products delivery, which had to be delivered by morning because they'd go bad by the afternoon, and therefore you had care. Somebody who knows his job.